Now let's get ready for our tail of the tape. You see that Ugas, 3 years older than that of Spence. He has the height and the reach advantage. Spence undefeated, 27-0 with 21 knockouts. Rules of our main event. No 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. The fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round, as the fight is official after 4 rounds have been completed. Well, there is the notion that fans want to see the best fighting the best. You have 2 of the world's best with 3 world titles on the line for all the marbles. We are moments away. They say they do things bigger in Texas. Well, this is a massive fight with significant repercussions historically when it comes to the welterweight division. Here's Jimmy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to AT&T Stadium here in Arlington, Texas, as Premier Boxing Champions presents the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Man Down Promotions, TGB Promotions, and Showtime. Sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app, use promo code GLOVES, and make it rain. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day, and there's no time to lose. Memory, from the director of Casino Royale and starring Liam Neeson, only in theaters April 29th. This unification bout is sanctioned by the WBC, the president Mauricio Suleiman, supervisor Rex Ross Walker, the WBA president Gilberto Jesus Mendoza, supervisor Jose Oliver Gomez, and the IBF President Darrell Peoples, Supervisor Pete Podgorski, along with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations Combative Sports Program. The chairman is Rick Figueroa, Executive Director Mike Arismendez. Introducing our 3 judges, scoring our main event from ringside. From Nevada, Tim Cheatham. From Connecticut, Glenn Feldman. And from New Jersey, Steve Weisfeld. Introducing our 3rd man in the ring, our referee in charge, Laurence Cole. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the unified welterweight championship of the world. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from AT&T Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys, it's showtime! Introducing to you first, the WBA World Champion fighting out of the red corner. Entering the ring wearing white trunks with red trim, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Santiago de Cuba in Cuba. He weighed in at 146 3/4 pounds with a record of 27 wins, 4 losses. He has 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight in his 4th world title appearance and making the 2nd defense of his title, ladies and gentlemen, here is the current defending WBA welterweight champion of the world, introducing 54 milagros, Yodenis Ugas. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, the WBC and IBF world champion, wearing black trunks with green and pink trim, and proudly representing Dallas, Texas. He weighed in at 146 1/4 pounds. His sensational record includes 27 wins, no losses, 21 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome one of the stars of boxing today, tonight in his 7th consecutive world title appearance. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the popular and acclaimed, reigning and defending, undefeated IBF and WBC welterweight champion of the world, introducing the truth, Errol Spence Jr. Once again, a referee in charge, Laurence Cole.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to go in the dressing room. I want you to obey my time. Respect myself at all times. Come on, love touching up.
Welterweight unification on the line. Errol Spence Jr., the native son here in the Dallas area. The third time main eventing here at AT&T Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys, with 2 world titles, looking to add a third in that man, Yodenis Ugas' crown. Ugas looking for another signature victory and capture Errol Spence's 2 world titles. The winner likely will be known as the best welterweight in the world. Just the 12th time in history that the welterweight division will be unified, and we are underway, Miguel.
Absolutely. Errol Spence Jr., Yodenis Ugas coming into this fight. You wondered, in order to beat Errol Spence, you need to fight a similar fight that Shawn Porter was able to. Get on the inside, make it tough, use the physicality. Yodenis Ugas, with the Cuban style, doesn't box that way. At 35 years old, can he adapt and be able to use and replicate that formula that Shawn Porter used a couple of years ago? Or is there another way to defeat Errol Spence? He is undefeated. No one's ever beaten him before. What is the route to take if you're Yodenis Ugas?
Well, for Errol Spence, when I asked him a couple of weeks ago when he had a trainers roundtable, I said, what is it like fighting the tricky Yodenis Ugas? He said, who says he's tricky? And I said, well, that seems to be the notion from media members and fans alike. He goes, I don't think he's tricky. I think he's a tough fighter, but I don't believe he's tricky.
Errol Spence said that he felt Ugas' win over Pacquiao wasn't that impressive. He said, if anything, it was more to a fact that Manny Pacquiao was getting old, and he wasn't the same Manny Pacquiao that we saw several years ago. Therefore, he didn't feel he was that impressed with what Ugas was able to do against Manny Pacquiao.
Well, Ismael Salas on the opposite side, they were not impressed with what they saw in Errol Spence's last outing back in December of 2020. Ismael Salas told me, in effect, that he believes that Errol Spence Jr. isn't the same guy compared to that when he fought Shawn Porter in September of 2019. He feels that the car accident took a lot out of Spence, and he doesn't believe that Spence is the same fighter physically compared to that of before the accident.
Derek James said that he wasn't happy. He almost agreed with Ismael Salas, said Errol Spence was 40 to 50% in that fight. And there you see Ugas right away into the body of Errol Spence.
Under a minute left here in the first round.
But he said it has been a significantly better training camp. This is the best that he has seen Spence in coming into a fight. And he said that version of Errol Spence you saw against Danny Garcia, you're going to see an entirely different version here tonight.
Some body work by Errol Spence. Something that, oh, big right hand, sweeping right hand, grazing shot by Ugas.
Ugas does take a couple of rounds to get in the groove and start building momentum.
If you're Errol Spence, you need these rounds. I mean, both men need every single round. So much on the line here in our main event. There's a shot to the body by Ugas. Errol looking to reciprocate, going to the body himself. A left hook, and that'll conclude round 1. And here's AT&T Stadium here in Arlington. What a palace. It is great to be back here at the home of the Dallas Cowboys. Round 2, this one's scheduled for 12 for the WBC, WBA, and IBF welterweight championships of the world. What did you take away from that first round, Miguel?
I thought that is exactly how that first round was going to play out. Both guys really didn't take too many risks. They wanted to kind of get a feeling out round in the books. Spence, obviously, out of action for 16 months. As for Ugas, he is typically a slow starter.
Spence targeting the body of Yodenis Ugas. Errol Spence told me that he is looking for the knockout. He goes, if I get a decision, fine, but my target is to go out there and finish off Yodenis Ugas. You see, Spence was 9 of 73 for a 12% connect percentage. Ugas more selective, 12 of 32 for a 37% connect percentage. So Spence throwing more than double than that of Ugas in the first round. Not surprising.
Spence right into the body. Ugas was able to deal with the southpaw in Manny Pacquiao. And as we know, Manny Pacquiao comes from all sorts of different angles and one of the most unique fighters in boxing history. Now he's walking right into another southpaw with Errol Spence.
Spence, they're tying up right now in the center of the ring. Laurence Cole allows them to work through it. Ugas pushes him off. Ugas is very big for 147, my goodness. As is Spence, for that matter.
Yeah, both big 147-pounders. But Spence has shown to deal with some physicality.
There's a right hand. It was blocked, though, by Spence. Might have been a grazing shot, but you would think that the judges are watching that, and Spence looking to answer right back.
And Spence is really encouraging the inside fight. He is trying to get inside to the body of Ugas, and Ugas continues to push him off.
Under a minute to go here in the second. Spence throws a left, and then he got countered with the right from Ugas. Both men landed. Terrific fight thus far.
Yeah, you can really see how Spence has raised the level of aggression here in round two.
I'll even say in the first round and a half as we head towards the end of the second, that Spence looks significantly better than that of what he did against Danny Garcia. Not to say that he looked bad against Garcia. He looked solid, very good in that performance, but he looks just a step sharper here in this fight against Ugas.
Yeah, he looks totally different in this fight, and you can tell right off the bat just his instincts, his footwork, and the explosiveness. It's there.
He looks a lot sharper and more confident in his ability. There doesn't seem to be any hesitation from the undefeated WBC and IBF champion. That'll end the second round. We head towards the third. There are some luminaries in attendance here at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. As you see Steven Jackson, NBA player, and Michael Irvin in the house.
Von Miller,
yes.
Super Bowl champion.
Now a member of the Buffalo Bills. And I love that chain that he has on. Oh my goodness. Showtime Shawn Porter, a man who fought Ugas and Spence within 6 months of each other. And now the retired Shawn Porter. And Luis Ortiz, King Kong himself. He's a Cuban supporting his fellow Cuban brother and Yordenis Ugas. David Benavidez, who was there to support Jose Valenzuela tonight. He had a co-main event here back at the end of March, and the Charlos, Jermall and Jermell in the house. And we begin round number 3 between Yodenis Ugas and Errol Spence Jr. for 3 world titles on the line. There's a nice left to the body by Spence.
That left hand is really getting closer for Spence.
Spence is 10 of 97 from the jabs, 10 of 45 for Ugas. So Ugas is more selective. Spence throws nearly double that of Ugas. That has been the story in the first 2 rounds. As we head into the third. There's a left hook by Ugas.
And Ugas was able to connect on 2 left hooks on Spence as he was coming in.
And now Spence looking to hammer away upon Ugas. Look at the truth go. Looking to step right to the 35-year-old Cuban. This is an offensive attack that is turning back the clock from Errol Spence. It dates back to that of what we saw from him against Shawn Porter in September of 19.
Absolutely, and you know Errol Spence was taking notes when Terence Crawford won by TKO over Shawn Porter. That is who he views that the world really compares him to in this division. And you know he wants to make a statement of his own against Yodenis Ugas.
Well, he's fighting with a great deal of ferocity, more ferocity than what we've seen at least in that fight that wasn't there against Danny Garcia. Just over the midway point of the third. Laurence Cole warning Ugas about pushing the head down. He doesn't like that. So that's a warning. I believe that's the first warning, to my knowledge, Miguel.
Yeah, that is the first warning from Laurence Cole. And there's a right hand that got through the defense.
That stopped Errol Spence, but Spence tries to turn it around. They both are fighting at close distance. I love the way that this fight is developing right before our very eyes. Both men have thrown caution to the wind after that first round.
Yeah, the feeling out process is absolutely over between Spence and Ugas. Spence, the aggressor, been active, using his jab and really digging into the body of Ugas, whereas Ugas is pushing off Spence and trying to land that right hand, which he has several times already.
Spence attacking the body of Ugas, but back comes Ugas. The thing about Yordenis Ugas is typically Cuban fighters are tricky. Look at that combination by Yordenis Ugas, the WBA champion. A right hand that was blocked by Spence, but a big shot there by Ugas.
And that right hand might have knocked Spence off balance a bit.
Ugas gaining confidence here at AT&T Stadium as we head towards round number 4. Ugas coming forward, and the action continues to heat up. So I will say this to the audience, I apologize because it's so loud in here that I fully cannot understand and hear the corner of Yordenis Ugas because I have translated for Ugas in the past, but it's so loud in here I cannot exactly determine what he's saying, and nor do I want to be incorrect. So I apologize in that regard because it is so loud here at AT&T Stadium. But Miguel, that third round, Yordenis Ugas really picked it up towards the tail end.
Yes, it's Spence. It was the tail of a half in that round where Spence came out very strong in the first half of that round and was really starting to pour it on Ugas, but then he got a little too over aggressive, and then Ugas was able to counter and land on some big shots on Spence towards the end of that round.
Numerically through 3 rounds, Spence 36 of 88 for a 40% connect percentage power punch wise. Ugas 26 of 80 for a 32% connect percentage. Both men throwing similar when it comes to power punches and landing at a very similar percentage.
And you're starting to see Spence really dig into the body of Ugas, and Ugas continues to push him off, trying to land the right hand.
Ugas holds his ground in the center of that ring. He did it against Pacquiao, and he's doing it in spurts here against Spence.
And Ugas with the body shot of his own, backing Spence up a bit.
But Spence is busy. I gotta say, Miguel, this is the most active and aggressive we've seen Errol Spence in some time. Look at him go.
And Spence was able to connect on 2 straight uppercuts, followed by the left hand, and beautifully ducked underneath the right of Ugas.
There is a reason why this fight was so highly anticipated, because both men are 2 of the world's best, and they are putting it on full display here tonight as they test each other for 3 world championship belts.
And both are just going toe-to-toe right now. This is an incredible pace that both men are setting here.
And what's interesting about this is they can continue this throughout the 12th. Both men are in supreme condition as Spence rips the body of Ugas, but Laurence Cole warning him about hitting below the belt. That was inadvertent, mind you.
Yeah, we saw both men are very used to going into the championship rounds and still looking in fantastic shape. And the fact that Errol Spence hired a nutritionist, first time he's done that in his career in this training camp.
This is
you figure he's taking it another level up.
To echo that point, Miguel, this is the leanest I've ever seen Errol Spence. He looks in unbelievable shape. He always does, but this is next level. Under 30 seconds left here in the fourth. What a fight.
There's a good jab from Spence. And you can see both the mutual respect between both men.
Spence pops in, throws a jab followed by a straight left. Ugas hasn't been able to find him here in this fourth round, Miguel.
No, Spence has boxed beautifully and has darted in and out. Ugas was able to connect a little bit towards the end of that round, but still, I would say Spence got the better of Ugas in round 3.
Taking a look at some of the action.
There's the body shots from Ugas right there on Spence. But again, Spence is staying right in the pocket, looking for the big right.
Round 5, this one scheduled for 12 for the unified welterweight championship of the world between Errol Spence, who holds 2 titles, and Yodenis Ugas, who holds 1.
And there's Spence right into the body again. He is being extremely physical in this fight.
I think that Errol Spence wants to prove that there are no ill effects of what happened to him physically from that car accident and the eye injury. Punches thrown through 4. Spence 64 of 314, a 20% connect percentage. Ugas 49 of 226 for a 21% connect percentage. So Spence being the busier fighter, Ugas being more selective. And that, again, doesn't shock any of us. Look at Errol Spence go try to bring the fight as he aims to back up Ugas.
Spence right back into the body of Ugas, and I really like the body work that Spence has put on Ugas. And that one hurt Ugas, I believe.
Ugas might be hurt. Ugas is backing up now. He's smiling, and that is an indication that he might have been hurt.
It was a beautiful body shot with the right hook to the body, and then he came upstairs with an uppercut.
You want to talk about a statement? If Errol Spence is able to find a way to stop Yordenis Ugas, oh my goodness, that would send shockwaves throughout the rest of the welterweight division. Spence is pounding on the body of Yodenis Ugas like how he did in the heavy bag in his gym. Look at this craftsmanship from the truth. But back comes Ugas.
And Ugas needs an answer right here, because right now Spence is teeing off.
It is target practice for Errol Spence Jr. I don't know if Ugas is looking to weather the storm in hopes that Spence is going to tire himself out, but that is not to be the case, as he just gets lit up with a left uppercut. Under a minute left here in the 5th.
Good body shot from Spence, or excuse me, from Ugas. And he needs more of that to keep Spence off of him. This is an approach that we've seen from Spence since the Porter fight, where he is willing to fight in a phone booth, and now he is being the one bringing that style to Ugas.
He wants to demonstrate that he can be the bully. Oh, there was a nice combination by Ugas, as Spence stayed in the pocket too long. But back comes Ugas.
And Spence almost looks to enjoy when he's getting hit right now. It's almost, he is smiling after every exchange where he's clearly getting touched. It's almost as if he's just happy to be back in the ring.
I think Spence is, there's certain prize fighters who love being pushed to the limit, and Spence is one of those guys. And I would gather to say that Ugas is one of those guys as well, which is why it is made for an entertaining matchup through 5.
Here's some of the body work, and Spence really was dominating this round early on. There was the uppercut, and Ugas really didn't have an answer for Spence. There was the huge right hook in short distance that was able to hit and connect on the chin of Ugas, and that was followed by the uppercut right there. That was what appeared to have hurt Ugas in the middle of that round.
But back comes Yodenis Ugas. Even though Ugas was losing most of the round, he showed Spence with that uppercut. Guess what? I'm still here. And I think for Spence, he stayed in the pocket a little bit too long. Otherwise, he wouldn't got a hit with that. Round number 6. This one's scheduled for 12. A jam-packed AT&T Stadium here in Arlington, Texas. Yodenis Ugas, the WBA champion. Errol Spence, the WBC and IBF welterweight champion. Power punches round 5. Errol Spence 17 out of 53. Ugas was 8 of 31. So Spence once again is nearly doubling the punch output against Ugas. Look at Errol Spence, a ripping shot to the left side of the body of Ugas.
And Spence still staying in close distance. He has said before, I have multiple ways I can win a fight. He doesn't believe Ugas can win a fight multiple ways.
Well, look at what he did against Mikey Garcia here back in March of 2019 in front of nearly 50,000 fans. Everyone thought that Mikey Garcia was the far superior boxer. And what did Errol Spence do? He outboxed the boxer in Mikey Garcia. People didn't think he could bully Sean Porter. Oh, big right hand.
And Spence is hurt.
Spence is hurt. He was, I don't know if he was wobbled or off balance or what, but my goodness, what a sequence.
Spence is hurt.
Spence is hurt. Oh my gosh.
Spence is
hurt. Has Spence hurt. Spence in major trouble. This place has a deafness to it. Oh my goodness.
And Spence is smiling still. And he is clearly...
Spence's mouthpiece is on the ground. And time being called. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Laurence Cole, this is ridiculous. How can you take the time to put the mouthpiece in this sequence?
Unbelievable.
This is why there was so much backlash, because Laurence Cole, that was not the right time to bring in the mouthpiece. Whatever. Midway point of the 6th. You gotta be kidding me, Laurence Cole.
And now Ugas ripping into the body of Spence. Spence is in major trouble. He is hiding it very well, but I can just tell there's been a change now in the momentum of this fight.
Oh my goodness. High-level drama here in Arlington, Texas. You can't write a more drama-filled script like this in Hollywood. This is why prize fighting is the greatest sport on the planet. Under a minute left here in the 6th.
We have rarely seen Errol Spence, if ever, hurt like he has been right here with another right hand from Ugas.
But did Spence recover? We've never seen Spence tested to that degree. And now back comes the champion. Both of them continue to hammer away. And chants of Spence echoing here at AT&T Stadium.
What a fight. Look at this. Both men toe-to-toe. And now Ugas, he feels that he's got the momentum. And Errol Spence is trying to counter.
Wow, what a turn of events here in the 6th round. But back comes Spence.
Credit to Errol, who has stayed in the pocket. Yes, he got stunned, but he has remained on his feet, and he is still staying busy and active against Ugas.
And that ends the 6th. Unbelievable round.
Here's the replay. There was an uppercut, and that was the shot that put Spence's mouthpiece out. And I'm not sure exactly what Spence was doing right there. He went to go look for his mouthpiece in the middle of an exchange, and Laurence Cole did not stop the fight. And then Ugas hit him with the overhand right, knocking him back and stunned him.
And he was still wobbled.
And then Ugas almost stops. He could have kept going, and it looks like he stopped.
So it was a right hand, and then Spence is looking for his mouthpiece. And Ugas, they're continuing. And again, incompetence by Laurence Cole. He kind of got in the way, and instead of trying to either get Spence, he didn't really commit to anything.
Yeah, it seemed as if Errol assumed Cole was going to step in right there, and he had his guard down. But Ugas, rightfully so, you keep boxing until the referee stops it.
Are you kidding me? See, this is why we need better referees in these positions. However, round 7, here we go between Spence and Ugas. Thankfully, he didn't affect the outcome of this fight, at least right now.
Uppercut by Spence. And you know Spence, you have to figure he is going to really ramp it up here in this 7th round to try to win back some points that he lost in the 6th.
If you're Ugas, you gotta be able to say, I was able to hurt him, let my hands go. If you're Spence, you're like, okay, I took his best shot, now let me regain control. Power punches through 6. Spence, 88 of 232 for a 37% connect percentage.
And an uppercut.
Ugas is hurt. Ugas is hurt. Spence going on the attack to try to finish off the WBA champion.
Spence wants the knockout.
Ugas is hurt. Ugas' face is swelling, and now Spence looking for the finish. This place would erupt. Ugas' face is looking like a mess.
And Ugas is on skates right now. Spence is going for the knockout.
Spence looking to close the show. Can he do it against the WBA welterweight champion? Ugas' right eye is swelling considerably.
Right now, Ugas has to bite down on that mouthpiece, and he has got to survive this 7th round.
This is why this fight was so highly anticipated. Ugas had Spence hurt in the 6th, and now Spence has Ugas hurt in the 7th. High-level prize fighting between 2 elite welterweights.
Ugas has taken significant punishment and is really starting to show that right eye is closing fast.
In a major way, Miguel. In a major way. Under a minute left here in the 7th. Both men testing each other's wills, their heart, their determination, as Spence continues to pour it on in front of his hometown fans.
And now Spence digging into the body, and now
Ugas comes Ugas
Spence
with the counter right hand of his own, but a straight left backing up Ugas. As Spence is starting to bust up the Cuban in Yordenis Ugas.
Ugas with the beautiful straight right that stopped Spence in his tracks.
You want to talk about a candidate for one of the championship fights of the year? Well, look at this, ladies and gentlemen.
And another uppercut. Spence, that uppercut has been his best punch of the fight so far. He has landed it numerous times already on Ugas.
A beautiful double uppercut followed by the body. The craftsmanship of Errol Spence on display as we head towards the 8th. Taking a look at the work from Errol Spence Jr.
This is where he hurt Ugas, right here, an uppercut, and you saw Ugas wince right there, and that is where he kind of wilted, and then Spence really started to unload, and then you saw Ugas smile, but he was hurt. He was absolutely hurt. And then there was a left hand. It almost went to the throat of Errol Spence. And then the straight right that knocked Spence and stopped him in his tracks. But Spence just smiled.
And Errol Spence again. Bang. On to round number 8. Errol Spence Jr. Spence was 39 of 97 in the 7th. Ugas. We'll get the numbers for Yordenis Ugas soon. But my goodness, Miguel, how Errol Spence had Yordenis Ugas in serious trouble.
Both men have faced adversity already in this fight. Both men have bounced back. And now we're here in round 8. And you can tell Spence is just fishing for the knockout. He talked about it early leading up to this fight, but he is absolutely showing it here.
This fight has lived up to the expectations, and now he goes right back on the offensive against Yordenis Ugas. Ugas being backed up. Errol Spence hammering away upon Yordenis Ugas. And now Laurence Cole once again inserts himself Man, this is a horrendous refereeing job in a fight of this magnitude, as the right eye of Yodenis Ugas is nearly shut.
Ugas has got to be more active. I don't think he's throwing nearly enough. He can hurt Spence, he has already, but he is not throwing at the clip that Spence is throwing. And he is suffering a lot of punishment right now.
Playing devil's advocate, Miguel, I don't think that Ugas can see some of the punches that Spence is throwing at him because his right eye is swelling. Oh my goodness. Look at the work by Spence.
Spence is relentless. I think he is looking to stop this fight in this round.
Look at Errol Spence. Pour it on. This crowd. And again, what is going on? What is this referee doing? Oh my goodness. Oh, he's checking on the eye. Okay, I'm all right with that. They will allow the fight to continue. That right eye swelling. This crowd is almost losing their minds as they feel that Errol Spence, the hometown son, is moments away from stopping Yodenis Ugas.
And I think if you're Ugas, you need to feel a sense of urgency. You are on the brink of having this fight stop due to that eye. It was very close right there, and now it is only going to get worse as this fight progresses. He has got to put the pedal to the metal now in order to change up this fight.
I think that Ugas has got to do something to show everybody at ringside that he is still very much in this fight, because Errol Spence from the 7th round and even here in the 8th has started to take over. But Miguel, look at this. The fact that, and we see Spence pick up the pace again. That ends the round. My goodness. Michael Irvin, the Dallas Cowboy, watching the action, supporting Errol Spence Jr. Some of the action.
Here we saw Spence, and he's just unloading with that left hand on that right eye of Ugas. And he is continuing to just batter Ugas here in this round. Round 9, and Spence, he can smell it. He is moments away, he feels, from stopping Ugas. And if you're Ugas, you need to change the momentum of this fight. Like we said, he's hurt Spence already in this fight. It's possible. He's landed some big shots.
And you see that Spence coming out, starting very much aggressive here in the 9th. Spence looking to make a statement, but Ugas, with his eye swelling shut, continues to pour it on and fight with such guts and heart and will. But he is fighting a man who is fighting on another level, especially here in the middle rounds.
And there was Laurence Cole warning Spence about keeping the punches up again. And that's the second time Ugas' corner upset. Felt like that should have been a point. He was
big
already
hook there by Spence, as a minute plus has elapsed here in the 9th. Look at Spence. It is just target practice. As for every 4 or 5 that he throws, Ugas will throw maybe 1 or 2. It is a fact that Spence is beating Ugas to the punch.
Absolutely, he's been quicker. He's landed the more powerful shots. He has been getting on the inside. He's been the aggressor. And
there's a right hook that backed up Ugas. Another one. Oh my. If there was any doubt, if Errol Spence still had it, if he still was at the top of his game, I think he has answered those questions with a resounding yes against Yodenis Ugas. That body shot might have hurt Errol, though.
That was a great body shot from Ugas as he timed it as soon as Spence was coming in, and Spence kind of winced, and now Ugas backs away. That right eye is in bad, bad shape.
But Ugas keeps coming back. He hit the body of Spence.
The body work of Ugas starting to take a toll on Spence. And Spence, like I said, doing a great job at hiding it, but you can tell it is bothering him. But Ugas is not throwing enough that needs to continue to put in the work on Spence's body.
There's a shot to the body by Ugas. Ugas has got to string together combinations. That's what Spence has been doing, unloading combinations and throwing heavy artillery towards the way of Yordenis Ugas. And again, Laurence Cole telling him to keep the punches up.
And those punches are not low. I mean, they're above the belt line.
Try telling Laurence Cole that. There's a right hand for Yordenis Ugas as we head towards round number 10 on what has been a wickedly entertaining welterweight championship affair.
Lo sacaste mejor porque tiraste la mano, viste, le diste abajo y le dolió. Ahora lo que me hace falta, le mete y sube con el 54. Vamos, Yordenis, mira.
Falta dos más,
Dos asalticos más y ya hay para la pinga.
Para el 10 o el 11.
¿Eh?
Para el 10 o el 11.
Vamos para el 10, ¿no?
Vamos, sí. All right, Curtis.
Listen, you got to say one at a time. You don't need all that. Box him up. Keep busting him up with the jab. Give me some side action. Do not stay in the middle. Let's go.
Round 10. This one is scheduled for 12.
You know I'm gonna push you back.
We are underway with the 10th. Errol Spence Jr. has been in control since the 7th round on body shots. Spence, 66, just 28 for Ugas.
Which is crazy because Ugas' body shots seem to have taken more of an effect on Spence. But Ugas is not throwing enough.
It goes back to your point, Miguel. You got to wonder, if you're Yordenis Ugas, if this doesn't go your way, you got to think, what if I would have thrown more? A right hook to the body by Spence. What a high-level matchup between Ugas and Spence.
And Spence has been in the lion's den the entire fight, and he backs Ugas up. I think he hurt him.
Ugas got backed up, and he took probably 3 or 4 steps backwards. And now Errol senses that the end could be near. This, no doubt, would be the most gratifying, most
and there's
satisfying.
An uppercut that hurt Ugas.
This would be the biggest win in the career of Errol Spence Jr. The coronation has him being the kingpin of the welterweight division if he can stop the Cuban champion in Yordenis Ugas.
Ugas is hurt. He's got blood now coming from the nose, and now he is backing away. He is on his bicycle trying to escape Spence.
Ugas is eating heavy shots to the body as Errol continues to pound away on the left side of Yordenis Ugas. And time being called again. For what, I don't know.
And they're looking at the eye again.
They may stop him again. That eye looks bad. And this one is over. Errol Spence Jr. has stopped Yordenis Ugas. What a moment here in Dallas as Errol Spence Jr. has become the kingpin of the welterweight division. History made here in Arlington, Texas, as Errol Spence Jr. now holds the WBC, the IBF, and now the WBA welterweight crown.
What a performance from the Truth. He's always said he's the big fish at 147 pounds. He proved it tonight. He absolutely was the big fish tonight after he suffered that adversity in the 6th round where it appeared he was going to get knocked out. Ugas had Spencer spit out the mouthpiece, was stumbled along the ropes, but he was able to overcome that and withstand that dangerous round, and he bounced back, hurting Ugas the following round, and then he dominated from that point on.
That was a statement victory, the most satisfying, the most glorious, and for Yordenis Ugas, he really came out and he fought his heart out. He gave his best. But tonight, Errol Spence Jr. fought at a different level and proved beyond a reasonable doubt that he is the man at 147. And now just one man lies in his path to unify the division and become undisputed welterweight champion.
I can't fault that stoppage. The eye's bad. It is nearly shut if it isn't already. And I know Ugas wanted to continue, but he was not seeing any of those left hands coming. It's impossible. I don't know how he would. The doctor gave Ugas an opportunity in round 9, I believe, saying, okay, I looked at it. I'll give you that. I'll give you the option to continue on, but we're going to keep an eye on it. We're watching it. And then it just got worse in that 10th round. And Laurence Cole didn't have a great night, but I do agree with the fact that the eye was getting bad. It was time to check on it. And I think the stoppage was justified.
I agree with you, but, you know, just part of me says give him maybe one more round because he's a champion and he deserves it, but I'm okay with that. And now looking at the scorecards, we just got them at the time of the stoppage. 88-82, 88-82, and 88-83, all for Errol Spence. So Spence was going to coast to a unanimous decision victory. We take a look at some of the handiwork from Errol Spence Jr., Miguel.
Uppercuts. Uppercut, best shot of the night for Spence. He landed it so many times throughout this fight, and I think that's what really helped things and close up the eye. I mean, that uppercut, every time he threw it, it was landing and connecting on the right eye. And it would visibly hurt Ugas. There was many times, a few, especially later on in that fight, where you can see Ugas wilt after an uppercut because it was having that much of an effect on him.
For Errol Spence Jr., he said, I'm going out to try to get the stoppage. And he did it. Here's Jimmy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 1 minute 44 seconds in round number 10. Our referee in charge, Laurence Cole, stops the contest upon advice of the ringside physician. He is the winner by way of technical knockout. He is still undefeated. And now the WBC, WBA, and IBF unified welterweight champion of the world, the Truth, Errol Spence